Today is Tuesday, May 12th, approximately 4:01 in the afternoon. I'd like to call this Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Can you take roll, please?
Durancheck?
Here.
Begit?
Here.
Hoonan?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Tilly?
Here.
Lutz?
Here.
Krieger?
Yes.
All members present.
Thank you. If you'll stand for the invocation and then the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon, thanking you for the guidance and understanding that you have given this Board of Commissioners. Lord, we ask again today for your help and direction so this board may make the fair and proper decisions for all citizens of Bay County. In your holy name we ask this. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm assuming you all had an opportunity to look at the minutes. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Support.
Any discussions? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are in. Now is an opportunity from anyone from the audience that wishes to discuss matters with the Board of Commissioners. Anyone for public input? Seeing none, let's move into petitions and communications. A motion to go out of order would be in order to have a public hearing for the Michigan State Housing Development Rehabilitation Grant.
Support.
Any discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will go into an open hearing at this point. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to discuss this grant program. I think there is Francis. Francis, if you got a second, maybe you can touch base on what we're trying to do here for people who might have questions.
This grant is specifically to allow us to help those within a certain economic group rehabilitate their homes to bring them to a livable standard, whether it be roofs or septic or well or windows or whatever they need in order to have their homes safe and livable. This grant is targeted for 3 areas within the county, but we are trying to make it work in other areas. It also allows us to have emergency funding for anybody within the county. If your furnace goes down in the middle of winter, we'll be able to come in and help you out.
Very good. Any questions? Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Francis, I would assume there's not a shortage of people applying for that, but just for the public, if they were watching this or when they do watch this, can you give them some information how they would maybe seek that assistance?
You can either call my office at 989-895-4138, or you can contact Bay Area Housing at 989-893-9292, and we'll be able to guide you, direct you, get you set up, answer any questions you may have, and put you on the right path. And with Bay Area Housing, even if the grant that the county has is unable to help you, they also are able to tap into other programs to help people in need. So we do have referrals. We have other resources that we can reach out to help anybody in the county.
Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Begay.
Yes, there was a notice in the paper today. It basically Times had a sort of explanation about it for people. And I guess it doesn't include Bay City, you said, right?
No, they are a separate entity.
So like Auburn, Pinconning would be areas that they
Yes.
could look at.
Anything
applying.
except the city of Bay City. They have their own program, and you'd have to contact them. Deb Kiesel, and I don't have her number off the top of my head. She'll be able to help you over the city.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lutz.
Yes, is the funding going up or going down in this particular
This one's
grant?
going down. Yeah, funding is a lot more tighter. This is the last allocation grant. The next one's goes to competitive, and we've been told funding will be decreased, so it's getting a little cutthroat out there for the CDBG folks.
And Commissioner Herrick.
For instance, I see on the grant that it says 9 single-family homes. Well, if it comes up to $40,000 a piece, but if somebody will need, so you could actually break this down. It could be 29, depending on what's needed in that home.
I budget for about 9 to 13 full rehabs. But again, somebody might just need a furnace, or somebody might just need a roof or some plumbing or something. So that will determine. I think last year we helped 20 houses, 20 families within the area with both emergency and regular rehabilitation.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Francis, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come and speak on behalf of this grant? Seeing none, a motion to go back into regular order would be in order.
So,
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're back in order. Next, we have under B, a presentation to Kathleen King, recognition of retirement of the with community service. If you'd read the resolution, please. Thanks.
Resolution 2015-96 of the Bay County Board of Commissioners, whereas Kathleen King, a resident of the 4th Commission District, earned her Bachelor of Arts in Secondary Education and her Master of Arts in Classroom Teaching, both from Saginaw Valley State University. And whereas Kathleen King has shown a commitment to teaching in Bay County, having taught as a substitute in the Bay City Public Schools, adult education and Pinconning area schools, in the alternate education program for pregnant students in Bay Arnack Intermediate School District, and as an adjunct instructor for Davenport University and Saginaw Valley State University before becoming a full-time faculty member at Delta College. And whereas Kathleen King earned the rank of assistant professor, tenure, and associate professor at Delta College. And whereas Kathleen King led the Delta College English Division education program, teaching both exploratory teaching, elementary and exploratory teaching, secondary for over a decade, role modeling and teaching enthusiastic students, and pedagogy, discipline, and responsibility of excellence in the career field of education. And whereas Kathleen King has taught a themed composition course, The Glory of Dogs, in which she has educated hundreds of students on the importance of responsible dog ownership and engaged students as advocates for canines in their communities, providing volunteer hours, raising money for, and donating supplies to the Bay County Animal Control Shelter. And whereas Kathleen King has been an active member of Michigan Westie Rescue and helped rescue countless dogs from dangerous and life-threatening environments, spoken for the voiceless in shutting down backyard breeding puppy mills, and improved the lives of canines and humans alike by deepening our community's commitment to humanity for all. Therefore, be it resolved by the Bay County Board of Commissioners and County Executive recognize and honor Kathleen King for her service to our community and offer best wishes for a long and healthy retirement. Signed, Ernie Krieger, Chair, in the Board.
Thank you. Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
A motion to receive,
Oh, thank you, sir. Motion
to adopt.
to adopt.
Support.
Discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
I will do. Kathleen, on behalf of the Bay County Board of Commissioners and Tom Hickner, sorry. You want his job, don't you? Tom Hickner and his staff, we want to provide you with this proclamation and thanks for your years of service as an educator and also your years of service in volunteerism, especially with the animals, which is so important in our community or any community. And we want to wish you a very happy and healthy retirement, and we hope, and I'm sure we are, not only hope, but you are going to continue to provide that volunteerism with the dogs and whatever else in the community. So on behalf of the board and Mr. Hickner, we thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Tom.
That's all right. I was just going to say, I'm just glad that I'm not the only one that has that happen to.
Senior moments.
It's never been an issue of age for me.
All right, next on the agenda is an update on progress of the Discovery Preserve at Euclid Park. We got Zachary Branigan. Branigan.
That TV clicked on. It's his birthday today, by the way.
It is. This is.
21, huh?
Yeah. I had a few people say that today. No, 38, but it's neither here nor there. Well, it's not a big deal to be here on my birthday because this is very good news, and this is a thing that brings a lot of happiness to the Conservancy and to a lot of people throughout the county. And so this is a fun thing. I won't take too much of your time, but we thought it would be a good idea to come back and kind of circle back the wagons and tell you a little bit about the progress on the partnership between Bay County and the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy. So the last time that I was here was in front of you in 2013 in order to get at that time a signed agreement with the County Commission for the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy to lease the Euclid Linear Park from the county on a service in lieu of payment lease for us to essentially rehabilitate that facility and make it into a learning landscape for families and kids and connect people with nature. And I can tell you that after about 15 months of working on this project, it is an extraordinarily rewarding project for me personally, for our entire staff and organization, and the thousands of people that we reach throughout the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy's 22-county region. This is a really incredible project, and so I'm going to show you some cool before and after pictures, show you where we are in the progress, and then hopefully invite you to enjoy the facility yourself. Just for a quick recollection and background, like I said, we leased this property from the county in 2013 on a 10-year lease to start. At that time, we held kind of an initial public contest to provide a new name for the project, and we ultimately came up with the name Discovery Preserve, which is basically designed to kind of give us a sense of wonder and enlightenment for children especially. At that point, according to our agreement, we prepared a management plan. It was prepared by the SBLC staff. My full staff is here today. I have Lauren Sequin on the right, Trevor Edmonds, and Dawn Marsh. Dawn Marsh is our AmeriCorps member. And Trevor is our conservation lead who took the main role in developing the management plan. At that time, ultimately working with both Rick Pavlis, John Morse, Laura Orgar's office, and of course Tom's office all along the way. So that management plan is in place. This is just a quick preview as to what you're about to see, but if any of you had been to Discovery Preserve or the former Euclid Linear Park a few years ago, you would have known that it was in need of a facelift. It had been in the county's possession for a couple of decades and had tremendous potential, but needed a little bit of help. And this was the first ever event we had at the property after our first wave of work that we had done there. And you can see through our reach and expanding our message out into the community, we had over 80 kids show up to the very first event. So we knew that there was a dearth of that service in the county, and it's led to a lot of different things. This picture is worth 1,000 words, and it's also worth about $70,000 worth of investment we've gotten in grants and things, showing people that photo. I'll talk about that for a little bit. But the concept here was that Euclid Linear Park was a tremendous amenity. It needed help. The location, the size, the natural features that are available there really make it a wonderful opportunity. It's in a deeply populated area of the community in the southwest part of the city of Bay City. It's close to 84, close to the freeway. And the Land Conservancy, without going into a lot of more detail about the Conservancy, I know most of you are familiar with us. We were founded in '97, and we have a mission to conserve land and water resources and improve the quality of life in the watershed. We are a land trust. We have 6,000 acres of land under protection around a 22-county area. We do trails, mountain bike things. We do waterfowl habitat. We do all kinds of different projects. You can learn a lot on our website about the things that we do. But the one thing we did not do when I first came on 3 years ago was urban conservation projects, a project in the city where people live. Our closest project that was available to the public was in Pinconning, which is fantastic, and it's valued by the people in Pinconning. It is immediately adjacent to Pinconning County Park, so we already had an established relationship, especially at the time with Rick and the people that were working out there, and of course with Laura's office. So we had a lot in common and a lot of common goals. When this opportunity came up, it came about as a casual conversation with Tom, and it really turned into a really neat project, so we were glad to get it off the ground. We looked at Euclid Linear Park as a ready-made nature preserve. It's you got a nice, beautiful wetland area, an existing trail, some amenities that we could help. It's what we call in the land trust industry an ambassador landscape. It's a small number of acres with a tremendous amount of impact. It tells the story of the other 6,000 acres right in people's backyard. So we have properties as large as 800 acres under protection. We have a 250-acre preserve with 5 miles of trails on it in Caseville. These are huge facilities with lots of amenities, but they're far away. They're in more remote areas. This is 12 acres, and it has had more visitors than all of our other properties combined since 1997, I would guess. So every day you go out there, there's people out there. So the idea was that we were going to use our charitable conservation function to restore the property from a habitat and user point of view, to think about people as well as thinking about waterfowl and critters. The property becomes a high-quality learning landscape for all ages. That's what we refer to it as. Those of you that have brought some of the county commissioners have been out there, you've brought your own grandchildren and stuff. Commissioner Herrick was just there. You were there at the ribbon cutting.
Must have had free food.
Yeah. Sometimes. That's only on the volunteer days. But at any rate, the idea was to put out, interpretive signs and things like that. You're kind of learning about the habitat as you go. So the new Discovery Preserve leverages our staff resources. We have over 400 hours of in-kind staff resources into this project to date, and our philanthropic connections to do something new with this incredible asset. Those of you that really follow the Land Trust, you know that we execute at a very high level in terms of our messaging, our wayfinding, our programming, and that kind of stuff. So this property instantly became the benchmark piece of what is now known as the OUR Bay City Network, which is the Outdoor Urban Recreation Network. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but if you've read the papers and things, you see that we've been very lucky in the last couple of years, and we got some nice grant resources from the Bay Area Community Foundation to do 3 other sites that were basically modeled on what we did here. And I can briefly touch on those just so you're aware of them. But basically right now we have 4 sites we're working on to connect people with nature in the city under this OUR network. And we've leveraged almost $170,000 in resources to do that. So I said specifically for this site, we've brought in approximately $70,000 in new financial resources to this preserve that were not present before the SBLC was involved. It comes from a combination from the Bay Area Community Foundation and the Watershed Initiative Network, lots of local corporate input, Dow Chemical, Corning, S.C. Johnson, et cetera, and then in addition, in-kind resources and individual donors. The major corporate givers to this property were the Dow Chemical Company, Dow Corning, ITC Holdings Incorporated, and S.C. Johnson. All 4 of those companies. And I will say, and I am not exaggerating, Dow Corning and S.C. Johnson both approached us after they heard about this project and asked if they could be a part of it and give us money. We never called them. So it shows you, again, how desirable this project was in the community. Dow Chemical in particular brought out 135 volunteers over 2 days and did a tremendous amount of backbreaking labor out there, and then also contributed at a high financial level to get the project started. Foundation giving, Bay Area Community Foundation, as I said, this was a component. Additional improvements to this preserve were part of our $100,000 grant we got through the Bay Area Community Foundation, through the Newell and Elizabeth Eddy Fund. And the Saginaw Bay Watershed Initiative Network also contributed in a small way. And then, of course, our own members and Chippewa Nature Center, which we'll touch on in an interesting comment near the end. This was the ribbon cutting that happened out there, and we had a very, very positive day that day. One thing I wanted to hit on, especially with the County Commission, was to tell you that we are doing our very best to keep all of our local dollars spent locally. So it's part of our sort of corporate guidelines internally to the Conservancy to first consider local vendors, local materials. We reuse materials, for instance. The boardwalk was replaced out here. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. We reused all of those boardwalk boards by cutting them, reconditioning them, and using them for mountain bike obstacles on another trail elsewhere. So, we're always trying to do that. But local dollars were spent locally for this project. Our primary contractor on one of the major projects out there I'll show you were Bay City Builders, Joel Labrie and Bay City Builders. They did a fantastic job. Billy's Contracting, K&K Property, Big X Nursery has done a tremendous amount for us. Woodside Hardware, all of our tools and equipment. Sequin Lumber providing tens of thousands of dollars worth of lumber. And Curb Appeal Landscaping is now maintaining the property at a very high level. Here's some volunteers going to work. We tore out some huge lilac bushes, and that's the new sign that's out there that was put in early 2014. It's been out there about a year now. Volunteers, as I mentioned, lots of cool volunteer labor. Dow Chemical is fantastic. Chippewa Nature Center has provided quite a bit Kolb Elementary, this is something I think that was sort of in the vision for Euclid Linear Park in the very beginning, was to provide amenities to the school district. We've reached out and we've done some programs with Kolb Elementary, putting up bluebird boxes and things like that. So pretty neat. And then of course our own volunteers have really gravitated towards this. This is Trevor and some volunteers lugging a 500-pound chimney swift structure into its spot. This is an interesting thing. It's the only one of its kind, I believe, in Bay County. Chimney swifts are a species that is really struggling with habitat loss, and this is a structure that allows them to roost in there at night. Just kind of an interesting little thing how we can increase. This is natural mosquito protection. Chimney swifts are out there eating bugs all day long. So a couple of the projects, and I'm going to show you some pictures, and then I'll answer any questions and get out of your way. But the projects that we did out there, essentially in the management plan, we replaced all 700 feet of the boardwalk out there. We repaired the viewing deck. We're adding a spotting scope out there so to be able to observe wildlife on the pond. All new signage and interpretive exhibits. We've put over 3,500 native plantings on the property. We've wrestled, dragged, and beat Phragmites into the ground out there. We still have a patch of dead frag that's out there that's going to be mowed later, and then we'll treat again this fall if necessary, so we're working on that. Habitat boxes for wood ducks, bluebirds, pretty interesting. We've got nesting bluebirds out there now, quite a few of them. Nesting broods of wood ducks out there, or broods of wood ducks coming out of their habitat boxes, so it's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of interesting birds out there, herons of all kinds, and it's really neat stuff. We have dog waste stations out there. We have repaired the bathroom facility, stained and refinished all the existing structures. The chimney swift structure I mentioned. We had a winterberry patch planted, which is providing year-round food for wildlife. Repaired and secured waste baskets, picnic tables, etc. So some before and after pictures, which is kind of fun. This is what it used to look like on the road there. That's a lilac. This is what it looks like now. This was the bathroom facility. This is it now. This is getting a new gable end roof with standing seam metal. A gold standing seam metal roof is going to go on that. It might actually be out there already. They were working on it this week. This is the old boardwalk. Not too bad a picture of it, but you can see that it's in need of repair. This is the boardwalk now, all fresh and new. All ADA accessible. This former signage kiosk looked like this when we got it. It looks like this now. It talks about all the conservation properties on the Saginaw Bay watershed. It serves as an ambassador landscape, as I mentioned. An interesting facet of this project is that we were able to use our presence at Discovery Preserve to do something that was, I think, is really going to be sort of a foothold for Chippewa Nature Center. Chippewa Nature Center is one of only 2 nature centers of their scale, and in the state of Michigan, they're an award-winning facility. How many of you have been to Chippewa Nature Center or are familiar with it? It's an incredible resource. It's actually nationally renowned for the programs that they do. And we wanted to try to find a way to give them a presence in Bay County and to partner with them. This is a tremendous added value to the partnership we have with the county here. In the OUR grant, the Eddy Trust grant, we built into that funding to construct a little pavilion for Chippewa Nature Center to base programs out of. This is the first footprint that they will have. This, of course, facility is owned by the county now, but is still under lease to us. We're responsible for it. I'm going to show you some pictures of this little pavilion. But this pavilion was designed so Chippewa Nature Center would have a footprint in Bay County to base all of their programs out of, and actually give them kind of a compelling reason and an obligation now to sort of stay present here in the county. So this is something. It's basically a covered seating. It's interpretive exhibits. It's signage from the Nature Center. All ADA accessible. All permitted and inspected. All cedar construction, standing seam metal roof. It's a really nice thing. And it provides staging, as I said, for an all-new programming partnership, and it's already been for popular programs and events. This is what it looks like there. If you've been out there, it's right on the left as you walk in. It's closer to being done now. This picture doesn't really do it justice. It is all natural cedar construction, given some of the recent events in Bay City with recreational facilities made of womanized lumber. We decided to upgrade this, and it is all cedar and extraordinarily durable. This thing will be here in 50 years and should look like the day it was built. And Bay City Builders were the contractors on that and did a great job. So programming, we had a Kids in Nature series. That picture with all the 80 kids at it was our first event. We had a spring kickoff this year, which was popular. We have an extensive volunteer calendar. We have something called the Energize Active Outdoor Event Series, and that's with the Young Professionals Network here in town. We have a series of 6 outdoor events, like a mountain bike day and running day and all that. Discovery Preserve features in several of those. Chippewa Nature Center has a pretty robust monthly programming series out there now, and that is going to continue in future years. You know, we've got a lot of great press on this, so some of you have probably noted it, but Discovery Park, Discovery Preserve, it's become kind of a, you know, it's mentioned in a lot of articles out there in the paper, and they've been fantastic at providing exposure for it. I just want to show you some pictures of programming. Half of these have my little boy in there, so you'll have to forgive me, but it's the reason that, you know, people like us, you know, get up in the morning to go to work, but you know, they're building a frog house here, you know, out of sticks and stones and things like that they found. On the right there is Aaron Dene, who was a volunteer intern with us last year. That's my little guy in the middle with the uniform on. This is just a great picture. Look at this kid. I mean, how much fun are they having out there? You know, this little girl got muddy up to her elbows. This is on pond day. We were learning about the pond and all the critters in the pond. And you can see all the duckweed and stuff there, and these kids were just diving in. You know, hanging off the trees. This is that little girl after. Look how proud she is of her muddy pants. And those people have come back and forth to our preserve a bunch of times and have volunteered. This is what the entrance looks like now. But yeah, we've had a tremendous amount of luck out there. We've brought in a lot of new resources. We have a very bright future out there. We have funds in reserve for continual maintenance, and we have a lot of corporate interest in that and keeping us afloat with that project. And it has definitely provided us a foothold to leverage into new relationships with, you might have heard of Michigan Sugar Trails. It's a new mountain bike park on the middle grounds that we're constructing. That was based on the success of this project. We were able to point to this and say, look what the Conservancy and our volunteers and our partners can do. And that property has been tremendous. We took a 26-acre property that was essentially dangerous for the public, but was being used and squatted on and all that. We've taken out tens of thousands of pounds of steel and glass and, you know, just junk out of that property, 200 tires or so. And we've constructed a safe and enjoyable mountain bike network on the property and lots of cool signs and all that. And that's actually expanded our relationship with the city of Bay City as well. We're working on the boathouse. A lot of you are familiar with the boathouse on the middle grounds. We're working on a concept to develop a canoe and kayak launch there and work in partnership with the rowing club in the city of Bay City. And then we have a pretty extensive rehabilitation project going on at Golson Nature Park, which is right at the base of the Independence Bridge. And that's been really tremendous. There's eagle habitat there and all kinds of stuff. So this is all good things, and we're taking some existing pieces of property and existing assets, and with the partnership of the county staff, Tom's office, and lots of philanthropic partners, it's been a tremendous honor to continue to work on this project. So I just wanted to come in, provide you with that update, and share it with you, and answer any questions you might have.
Zachary, I think there's a few commissioners with questions. Commissioner Herrick?
Well, since we met, I met the staff, you know, and I was fortunate enough to be out there on the scavenger hunt, you know, for young people, and that was, I think it was in April, but it's amazing, you know, what they've done. I don't think we could have picked better stewards for our property than these folks out. You know, they've done a tremendous job, and they continue, you know, week after week. And you know, I know I get updates I got on your mailing list. And one of the things I'd like you to do is, you know, tell folks at home what since we're still on TV, tell them, you know, if they want to get on the mail, get emails from you, or get regular mail, or even the better yet, you know, I've been down to their office, which is somewhere it's on Johnson Street by another establishment, you know.
Yeah, I think they share a driveway.
But you know, you go in there and everybody's busy all the time. It's not like, you know, they're just, you know, you guys are all so eager to help, and you know, I know my grandkids love it there, you know, and I know I'm going to be back. You know, I hope to take on a little bit, you know, get a few more things that I wanted to come out to when you did the middle grounds, but too many family things that day. But I know I'll be there in the future, because I think what you're doing for the people of Bay County, and not only Bay County, but the other counties in general, is amazing. And you know, it's hard to find people as dedicated as we have here. You know, they're just doing a tremendous job, and I was really happy to see what they've done with that piece of property. It's fantastic.
Very good.
Can I get a videotape of that and put it on our website? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. One thing in response, you know, if the people at home do want to learn more about the Land Conservancy, it's sblc-mi.org. Or again, we're at 1008 North Johnson, and we keep regular bankers' hours there in the office. So this time of year especially, we're out in the field a lot. We have lots of you know, projects outside of Bay County as well. We're engaging on something called Taking Root in Saginaw, which right now is a year-long due diligence process for public engagement to find opportunities exactly like this in the city of Saginaw, to try to bring on and expand our philanthropic efforts there. And we work, like I said, in 22 different counties. One thing that I think is particularly a quick nice story to tell. I'm from Auburn. I grew up in Auburn. My dad owned a lumber yard there. A lot of you know him now. He's a real estate broker. And I moved away for 18 years, and I returned back to take this job. And since then, I've hired Trevor and I've hired Lauren, both of whom also left this community, went away for a number of years, lived elsewhere, and came back and now work here. And I don't know, I think it's just kind of an interesting and compelling story because you had mentioned how eager we are to help. And I really think that this is particularly a line of work that you don't necessarily go in to make a fortune, but it's a lot of fun. But it takes an awful lot of people. So we're very busy because we're very lucky because there's a lot of people that want to help us, and there's a lot of need for the services of the Land Conservancy. So thank you for those comments.
Commissioner Tilley, do you have a question?
I'm not going to belabor what Tom just said. He echoes my sentiments, but thanks for your activism in the area and community. But I'm sure that Commissioner Coonan and Krieger could use a little help stopping some Phragmites and stuff like that. If he could.
Thank you.
Besides that, I don't think you mentioned any need for volunteers, and maybe you want to extend that invitation to people who want to volunteer.
Always.
I've been piggyback on, I'm sure, with that contact information that you just put up.
Yep, on our website, when you go and visit our website, there's a column for events, and there's always a volunteer tag on there. You can go there, or you can follow us on Facebook too, which I didn't mention. We have thousands of followers that follow our various Facebook pages, facebook.com/Saginaw Land. And you go there, and that's where you find out like up to the minute stuff. But certainly we have volunteer needs for everything from property monitoring to picking up trash to mowing the lawns or doing whatever it might be. We have a certified volunteer program now, and we have kind of a team of maybe almost 30, basically like trained volunteer crew leaders that lead big groups out to do projects all over the watershed.
Very good. Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that the Discovery Preserve? What's the distance of the paved?
Paved trail is about quarter mile from one end to the other, and it's all ADA accessible. It's actually a great location for if you do have somebody that has need of an ADA accessible trail. Now, especially, it's pretty neat because the boardwalk is all repaired in that. You can have a nice smooth ride out there, go out to the observation deck, and take a look at the pond.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Bickett.
Been a couple of years since I've been there. The mosquitoes were a little thick. I don't know what you do for mosquito control. You mentioned part of it there.
Chimney swifts will hopefully help. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Mr. Hickner, you have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's some history here that I thought might be kind of interesting. First of all, he didn't mention his mother, who was a Podolesky from home in the South End. And I actually went to high school with both his mother and dad, but that's not the reason why I recommended the transfer to them. This area was part of a water course that extended from the Brooks area out in Frankenmuth Township all the way along past the Kolb School. And I'm told that the water course actually extended into Doan Park in, I guess, would be the 8th Ward. And in the 1980s, I got a phone call from a resident that lived right along there, and she was very angry because there was fill being put in, and they were basically filling in this wetland. And so sometime in the 90s, after I got elected, we were able to get support from the board, and we applied for a land trust grant to pay for buying the property. And this became the first urban wetland restoration project in the state. And obviously, the Conservancy has done a very good job. And we made the recommendation to transfer the responsibility because, as Bob has taught me over the years, that we ought to keep focused on what our core mission is, and our core mission really is not what their core mission is, and obviously it's worked out very well. In the long term, that Zach and I have talked about trying to get this extended all the way to the Kolb property, because if you're familiar with the area, which included the old Bay City Country Club, there's additional wetland areas along there that would really add to the overall property. And then just as an aside, their group got started through a group of local folks. We met at what is now Gatsby's. Bob will remember, Don will remember Pete White, Pat Tron, and Bob will remember Charlie Curtis. And I can't remember if Kozad or Valerie Ruff, who preceded. I don't think Laura was Environmental Affairs Director at that time, but I'm losing my memory as I age. So, in any event, they do a great job, and there are lots of different things that we can do, not only here, but there are, things up your way, Mike, that they've been doing years ago. So, and talking about recruiting youth, Don, you just sent me an email about how we need to attract young people, and this is one of the ways you do it. So.
Thanks very much to Tom for adding all that additional background and history on it and stuff. You're absolutely right. And Tom sells himself a little bit short. I mean, he was essential to the creation of the land trust in the first place in 1997. So all of this doesn't happen without somebody like Tom and people like Petron, who still serves on our board, and Charlie Curtis, who was at a program on Friday at our office and enjoys being involved with the Land Conservancy still. And all those people, Mike Kelly and Bill Wright, and a lot of those folks who are still working with us on a day-to-day basis. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come back and do all this work.
Very good. Anyone else? A motion to receive would be in order?
Support.
Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nice job, Zach.
We'll send you the video.
Okay.
I already wrote it down.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
All right, next we have a City of Bay City application for industrial facility tax exempt certificate for Cambron.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It carries. We also have an application for establishment of a obsolete property rehabilitation district, which is located at 501 Saginaw Street. What's your pleasure?
So moved. Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's done. We'll move into reports and resolutions of committee. We have Ways and Means. Commissioner Coonan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under Ways and Means, we have Resolution 2015-97. This is the Huron County Next Generation 911 Phone System Intergovernmental Agreement. This is the addition to them. I move this resolution.
Support.
Any discussion? Commissioner Herrick, Zach.
We need the man.
Mr. 911.
Mr. 911.
Hi
I'd
there.
just like you to, so the people in Bay County that, like I said, are going to be watching this, understand what this agreement means for Bay County in general, and how this is going to help us out, and as we go forward.
I can kind of tie this in with the other local resolution that's coming up if you want. Kind of
Yes, yeah, roll all together.
Yeah. So the resolution before you is Huron County joining the Next Generation 911 phone system. And actually next month, I'll probably be before you with an additional resolution for Iosco County and also San Juan County. They're very interested as well. Midland County and I met with them yesterday. I'm meeting with the Iosco County Board in early June. They had the same discussion we had in Huron County. And when we built the project originally, the three counties kind of thought, Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come kind of idea, knowing that there's a significant cost savings and things that can go into building a future next generation 911 system. So kind of where we're at today, future, and then farther in the future, and kind of a Reader's Digest version if I can. Where we're at today, what PFN is, the Peninsula Fiber Network, the next resolution you're going to see is really the ability to a larger pipe, a fiber network that's going to hook us all together. Currently today, we have AT&T provide us analog camera trunks. So when you contact 911, you dial 911 through a whole convoluted system that exists today. That call, whether you call on your cell phone in your pocket or your landline, it navigates through an analog network system and it lands at our 911 center by dipping into what we call an ANI or ALI database. So if you're calling your cell phone, when you make that call, if there's 3 cell towers, it's going to give an approximate location based on triangulation, okay? Not a GPS coordinates. And that information then goes to a database. And then your phone number traces through a network in the system. And then when it gets to Bay County, it then associates back up with that information. They call it a centroid, that 3 triangulations, the centroid. That information then, we dip into that database, pull that information out, and we plot it on our screen. That takes about 6 to 8 seconds. 8 seconds. If you're a bull rider, you know how long 8 seconds is.
Just like
When I get
NCIS.
presentations, people think, well, that's not a lot of time. What I ask folks to imagine that your daughter, your granddaughter, your grandson, your son is in trouble. They're crying, they're bleeding, they're hurt. And then imagine them having to make a 911 call. So I ask that everyone here just kind of close their eyes and imagine that. Right, just close your eyes. So if you could close your eyes. That's about 8 seconds. We receive 95,000 911 calls a year. That's a lot of time. That 8 seconds is important to that person on the phone call. When we move to the Peninsula Fiber Network, one of the benefits is that call will be sub-second. So instead of 8 seconds, it'll be less than a second. We'll receive calls at a 911 center and people will say, it rang twice. Yes, indeed it rang twice, but we don't hear it till the third ring because it takes that 6 to 8 seconds for it to go to a 911 center. So it just takes a while because of the old analog technology. If I ever say round or square peg, round hole, that's the issue. We're trying to push digital technology through an analog system. So what we plan to do by moving to PFN is replace our analog camera trunks from AT&T, and PFN would be our service provider for 911. Right now, the state of Michigan technical surcharge, everyone's device is a 19-cent charge. That goes to the state of Michigan, and they pay for our AT&T camera trunks. When we move to Peninsula Fiber, then Peninsula Fiber will be paid through the technical surcharge to the state of Michigan with that 19-cent technical surcharge. And that's how it works. So what we're getting is kind of a double bang for our buck because the counties that are part of the network that we're building between will be a Boxing Bay, a Boxing Midland, everyone else will be remote sites. So all the other counties and the backup centers will be remote sites off those 2 boxes. PFN will hook up in multiple concentric rings of fiber. We'll hook all of those up together, and the technical surcharge pool will pay for networking that together and delivering our 911 calls. So that's what we're asking today, is to build that, to switch to PFN, so PFN can then contact all the telcos in our area. We have lots of telcos, probably 50 telcos locally that they need to contact and say, we are now the service provider for 911 services in Bay, Midland, Tuscola, Huron, Asco, Sanilac County, and we're going to switch you over to our network. So that takes about 6 months from the start of go to that. What will happen is as we put the new phone boxes in, our camera trunks will still be there. PFN will build a network so we can share data, and they will slowly work with each one of those telcos and remove them from the system. After 90 days of no activity of our camera trunks, they'll remove the camera trunks and we'll be on a PFN network. So future pieces, which is nice, once the network is in place, we'll use about 10 megs for that PFN network, provide our telco stuff. But we could ramp that up. So in the future, if we wanted to share computer-aided dispatch or we wanted to share radio, some other future piece of computer technology or technology, we can open up that bandwidth from 10 meg to say 40 or 50 meg. We would pay for the additional network bandwidth on that, have our own private network to add things. And there's where the cost savings is. For instance, if we wanted to buy a new net clock, all 7 counties or 6 counties get together and they purchase that net clock. And then based on positions, so Bay County has 8 positions total of 901 positions. So we're paying a much smaller piece. If there's 30 positions totally, we pay 8 of that 30. So there's a big savings there for everyone involved. We buy future technology can kind of run along that network. So where we're at today is camera trunks, analog, small pipe. Where we want to get to is a much larger pipe where we're sharing a network with a lot more redundancy and resiliency into the network. And the future piece of this, going down the road 5-6 years, is the ability to share CAD, to share radio, or future technology we don't really know exists. It's really opening up that pipe and sharing the resources.
Questions? Mr. Dranchuk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What happens in this fiber if it has a break or something? Is this a looped system?
Yeah, there's about 5 layers of redundancy we built into the system. So it's looped. There's multiple loops throughout the network itself. And then if, for instance, Midlands Center goes down, Bay Center comes up, If Bay Center is down and Midland Center goes up, and there's the ability to go right around the system and still land in the PFN network and still send our calls out. So if there's up to 5 layers of redundancy, PFN also provides with their package, they call it a Mevo phone. And it's basically a desktop phone with a digital display. And it offers what we call Annie and Allie. That's that geo information or address information. So essentially they told us, and the UP is using the same system right now. This is true technology. It's cutting edge, but not bleeding edge. The UP bled. We didn't have to. They can actually route every single one of our 911 calls to one cellular device if we so choose. So they can route those cell phone or our 911 calls to our Mevo phones anywhere that has an internet connection. So not only our fiber connection, our charter connection is our backup, our 7 administrative analog telephone lines also becomes an area of redundancy. So we have 5 levels of redundancy, which is much more than we have today, which is really just those 5 camera trunks.
Okay.
I had one more. Was this fiber part of that ARA grant that was like 5-8 years ago or so, or is this was there the fiber that was put in?
Yes and no. For instance, Iosco County is running along what they call the Merit Fiber.
Merit, yeah.
They wouldn't be able to probably join in that venture without that Merit Fiber sitting next to their center. We're taking advantage of some of that fiber as well. Yes, that fiber they're leasing or purchasing is coming in very helpful.
Thank you.
In a perfect world, when do you think all of this will be completed?
Perfect world is January 1 for us because our current provider for our system, they are no longer servicing our phone system on January 1. So the clock is ticking. We plan to start our install of the phone boxes in Bay and Midland early this summer. And PFN, as soon as we can get this signed by PFN, they want to get to work and get moving on this. So we want to be done by January 1st.
Very good. Anyone else? Thank you. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-99, Priority Dispatch Pro QA EMD Software Maintenance Agreement. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I think, did we miss? 98.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
All right, let's go to 98. 2015-98, Network Next Generation 911 Phone System, Peninsula Fiber Network. I move this resolution.
Support.
Any other discussion? With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And we did 99, so we'll go to 2015-100, Letter of Intent to the Region 7 Area Aging on the 2015-16 funding. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-101, Community Centered Gym Floor. This is a bid award and gym floor user rates. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. I have one question. When do we think we're going to start?
September.
September. And we're done by?
It's projected to be a 4-week project.
Okay.
So as long as we start at the very beginning of September, the kids don't go back to school till the 8th, so most likely it'll be right around that time. And what we did is we gave the contractor a choice of May or September in order to ensure that we got the lowest price, and our specific contractor chose September.
Very good. All right, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-102, correction of the user fee for the Civic Arena dry floor from the recreation facilities. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-103, wellness program budget adjustment from personnel. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-104, accounts payable, general, Center Ridge Arms. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-105, Tyler Munis Software Annual Maintenance Agreement for Finance. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that's all the business from Ways and Means.
Thank you, Commissioner Coonan. We'll move into Personnel and Human Services. Commissioner Lutz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to bring forth Resolution 2015-106, which is the Northeast Michigan Community Services Agency Incorporated Early Head Start from the Health Department. I'll move that resolution.
Support.
Discussions. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I have Resolution 2015-107, which is Breast and Cervical Cancer Control Program from the Health Department. I move that resolution.
Support.
Discussions. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I have Resolution 2015-108, which is the Healthy Eating Program from the Health Department. I move that resolution.
Support.
Discussions. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, I bring forth Resolution 2015-109, which is the purchase of other governmental service credit for retirement purposes from Thomas Halstag, Sheriff Department, Retirement Division. I move that resolution.
Support.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all from Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Commissioner Lutz. We'll move into Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Tilley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2015-110, the purchase of other governmental service credit and rescission.
Easy for you to say.
Recession, repression, it's all the same thing. Rescission of resolution number 96-331, dated 12/17/1996, from the Retirement and Corporation Council. I so move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. Commissioner Tilley.
I talked to Amber about this. This does not preclude anybody from buying military time.
That is correct. It's completely unrelated.
Very good. And then the second question, I guess it's not a question, it's a
Statement.
charge, is that I'd like to see that cost brought down for people to get their actuarial studies. And I understand we had a conversation about why it is the way it is, but I really think that whoever's doing the actuarial study is kind of giving us a bit of a shaft at $1,000 a piece to have these studies done. And that's going to deter a lot of folks who don't make a lot of money that work for us from actually getting one of these done and doing something that's smart early in their careers to help them later on in their life. That number is, I think, a bit lofty, and I'd like to see us work on bringing that down to a more realistic number, if not a no-cost number at some point in time. But beyond that, I'm in support.
Very good. Commissioner Begic.
Yeah, I had a question about military service also. I talked to somebody from the Road Commission, and apparently they have it, that you can buy military service, but not the other stuff. But
Yep.
thank you.
Very good. All those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-111, support for Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act. I so move this resolution.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2015-112, reports of the county executive. I so move this resolution.
Discussion. With none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that concludes business from the Board of Commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Tilley. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would. Bob? On Resolution 2015-110, do we need a roll call vote on that?
That wouldn't hurt.
All right.
If you need it.
Well, let's just do it to have it. You take roll call, please.
Start the roll call with Commissioner Coonan.
Yes.
Herrick.
Yes.
Tilly.
Yes.
Lutz.
Yes.
Durancheck.
Yes.
Bigick.
Yes.
And Krieger.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you for that. All right. Under reports of county officials, departments, we have the county exec. Mr. Hickner, anything to add?
No, sir.
Thank you. We'll move into unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Any new business? Miscellaneous? Commissioner Tilley?
I talked to you a little bit about it yesterday, but there are some, and I think I reprised last week at the board a bit, there are some major changes coming to Michigan Works. It's still got to go to the board at Michigan Works before they can say a lot of things, but the governor's office is really pushing the prosperity regions and bringing 8 counties into this region at Michigan Works, which would include Genesee, Isabella, Clare, Aranac, and I'm missing one more north of us that runs across that line. So it would make it an 8-county region. It essentially eliminates the region. It'll take us from, I'm going to mess this number up, 24 Michigan Works or 23 Michigan Works agencies to 10 that will cover the entire state. If we don't act by, they want the plan from Michigan Works, this I can say, from Michigan Works in the hands of the state by August the 14th of this year. They want it implemented by October 1st of this year. And if not, there's a 9-month window to get it finished after that. There's an incentive to get it done by October 1st financially, but you have another 9 months after that. If it doesn't happen, there will be a state takeover. So once the board has met and Michigan Works, this will mean some drastic changes on representation from each of the counties, from the public sector, all players involved in this, as well as funding changes going forward. But I want to give you a heads up that there's some things coming down the pipe. Good or bad, right or wrong, are coming.
So when you mention funding changes, it's not to the plus for Bay County, it'd be a detriment to Bay County.
Potentially.
And Commissioner Coonan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You done?
Yes. I don't have any questions for that on that. So.
June 20th, the third Saturday in June. It's our 9th annual Beach Wellness. I believe we've got our shirts on order, and the easiest way for people to register would be to go to the Bay Area Runners Club website, barc.whatever. You punch that in and it'll come up. And they got a list of all of the races for the whole year. So you click on there and you can register automatically, electronically. And we're getting a number of registrations as we speak. Every day there's more and more people registering, so that's a good thing. We're going to be reaching out to some of our past contributors to help us with contributions, and I think we're going to have a nice event. I think the water levels are going to be up, and we want to get that beach out there accessible to the public, which in the one area, it should be right behind the spray park where people can get down there and enjoy the water. The other end is beautiful. It's a little further hike, but we can capture more of that frontage. I think it's better for the public. So coming up, this is May. We'll probably speak on it in June as well. Yep. But June's coming up in a hurry.
Yep, year will be half over. Go figure.
Don't say that.
All right, anyone else? Commissioner Begich.
I received a letter that was sent to the constituent about Center Ridge Arms, and it looks like it's on administration, and I've also been contacted by that same person. So I hope administration would look at it and see if there's a resolution to it that would be good for everybody. Smoking issue there. It's really a concern for her and the health issue apparently.
I know that they've been communicating back and forth to look at what options are available. Yeah. So I know it's an ongoing issue. Okay, anyone else? We'll move into announcements for 2015 appointments. We have in June, Library Board. It's a 5-year term. In October, we have a land bank authority. It's one at-large representative, which is a 3-year term. Department of Human Services and Board of Directors. It's a 3-year term. Board of Canvassers. That is 2 4-year terms. Those are appointed by both parties, Democratic and Republican. In November, we have a Building Authority, 2 6-year terms. And in December, we have Division on Aging Advisory Committee. Those are 4 2-year terms in Districts 1, 3, 5, and 7. Amber, is there a need for closed session?
There is not, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more announcement.
Yes.
And I would be remiss because Mr. Race would beat me up if I didn't say something. So this Saturday at 11:45 at Vets Park, he is raising awareness. It's 350.org organization is holding an awareness rally just to educate the public on the level of carbon in the atmosphere. And so I'd like to invite the public and these commissioners to come down and join us. It takes about a half hour. It's a neat little event, and you have a nice speaker that comes in. But nothing wrong with raising awareness.
And I would also say, under miscellaneous, seeing that we kind of came in through the back door, that if you're a resident of Bangor Township, we do have our spring cleanup on Saturdays. So that means electronics, appliances, you name it except for paint, you can bring it in and we'll dispose of it for you.
Chair,
Yes.
remember when Sergeant Michael Cathcart was killed in action. They're going to have a ceremony this Saturday, 16th at 11 o'clock. Have his name engraved on the memorial out front. So that's 11 o'clock out front.
Very good. Thank you. So with no closed session, motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion? Of course not. All those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.